production of It's a Wonderful Life that opened this weekend, it was beyond belief. It means something, those two words, beyond belief. From those two words, you understand that the show or the song moved me somehow, that it made me feel or understand something I might have never felt or understood before. Before I go any further, I want to thank you, Elaine, for asking me to talk about what love beyond belief means. It's about time I did. So we'll start this morning by talking about love as a noun, and then move on to talking about love as a verb, because as you know, it can be both. The phrase, love beyond belief, makes sense intuitively, partly because we all know how powerful love is. Even though we've loved and been loved before, we know that in a new context, in a new moment, even here and now, an experience can evoke something new or beyond what we've experienced before. A deeper peace, a greater awe, a more sincere humility, a super strong sense of being interconnected, maybe an unexpected ability to forgive. We know how impactful love is when it brings joy and when it brings grief and sorrow, and when it brings awareness or insight. Saying love is beyond belief is to openly acknowledge how powerfully the presence or force of love shapes our lives. In the story I told just a little while ago about Hosea Ballou, an experience of his father's love shaped Ballou's thinking about divine love, inspiring him to become one of the greatest explainers of Universalist theology, as he insisted that each and every one of us, no matter what we have said or done or left undone or how much mud we have on us, we are beloved, beloved beyond belief. So when beyond belief is an adjective modifying love the noun, we are affirming how powerfully the presence of love shapes our lives. Now, how about when love is a verb? What does it mean to love beyond belief? Quite literally, it might mean to marry someone from a different denomination or faith tradition. On both sides of my family, and I imagine many of yours, the Lithuanian Jewish and the French Catholic, I have relatives, not too many generations in the past, who were forbidden to marry the person they fell in love with because they were from a different faith. Does anyone else have stories like that in their family? At least one? At least one, have to be more. Thank you. More, there we go. And I have relatives, as I imagine some of you do, who refused to refuse love because of beliefs, choosing to marry across cultural, religious, and racial divides, which is certainly an example of loving beyond belief and stories we might want to share with each other at another time. But when we speak of love, we are speaking of more than romantic love. And I remember a story from my days as a midwife when I was living on the border with Mexico in El Paso, Juarez. It's so long ago now, like not a million years ago, but 40 years ago. I moved to El Paso from New Mexico, where I was living, while other students came from Toronto, Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia, Port Townsend, Washington, and as far away as Florida. But Brenda had come all the way from Israel to study midwifery in the United States. A mother of 5, all of her children had been born by cesarean section, and because of her own experiences, she was passionate about offering women a chance to have an unmedicated birth experience. Brenda had long, red hair that hung past her waist and was the oldest among us. One evening, with 3 women laboring through the night in our freestanding birth center in El Paso, Brenda told us a story about what I would now call love beyond belief. My classmates and I knew that her husband, Zev Traum, was dead. That night, we learned that he had been shot and killed by a Palestinian in Gaza. This is back in 1989. But the story doesn't end with Zev's death. When it became clear that Zev wasn't going to survive, Brenda gave permission for his heart to be donated to a Palestinian man, Mr. Kader, for transplant. I Googled the story this week and found it in the New York Times archives. Mr. Cotter, I think's wife, Mary, was ebullient. This is from the article, as she said, I quote, "He's a human being, and there's no difference between a Palestinian and an Israeli in such cases." His daughter, Jamila, said no one had told them who donated the heart, but that the family finally learned the donor's identity from journalists. In the article, Jamila is quoted as saying, "If we refused to take the heart, it would be as if we were killing him. And we would do the same thing for another." With little time to talk as she was preparing for her husband's funeral, Brenda did say this to the press: "If it's possible to save a person's life, I think it's a mitzvah, a charitable act. And if Zev was asked to donate one of my organs, he'd agree to it," she added. When Brenda, with long red hair, loved beyond belief, she saved a life. When love is a verb, loving beyond belief is a way to live, a spiritual practice that affirms the unity of all living beings. Most of us won't have the opportunity to make a choice like the one Brenda made, not in our lifetimes. But we do get to choose each and every day how we respond when our beliefs divide us from each other, and how we might continue in our own way, continue to affirm the unity of all living things. So if you want to experiment and take on loving beyond belief as a daily practice, this is one way to try it on. Don't talk about what you believe, talk about what you love. When conflicts of belief arise, as they do, instead of defending yourself and your beliefs, instead of escalating and arguing, I invite you for the month of December to ask your neighbors, coworkers, friends, and family members to talk to you about what they love instead of about what they believe. Telling each other about what we love is one of the best ways to move beyond belief. People say they believe all kinds of things, some of which they really do, and some of which they just say they do because those beliefs are socially acceptable, or they think they are, or those beliefs will get them somewhere they're trying to go. But when you tell me, where is she? You love to see the smile on a child's face after they successfully read a page aloud in the storybook you've been working on together, and your heart swells so big when the child, is grateful beyond belief that they get to take that book home with them as part of the reading program you volunteer at, then I can only tell you that I love that too, and I'm inspired to love even better than before. Here's the nugget to take home today. Don't tell me about what you believe. Tell me about what you love. Because if you tell me about what you love, I'll know so much more about you, and we have a much better chance at connecting. If you tell me you love music, I can say I love music too. If you tell me you love animals, I can say I love animals too. And if you tell me you love chihuahuas, I can pause, get curious, and ask you to tell me more about why you love chihuahuas so much. I don't need to tell you that I think they look like wet rats and sound like angry birds. I think you'll be amazed how conversations about what people love lead to connections beyond belief. And actually, I look forward to hearing from you what you discover you have in common with people you thought you could never come close to before. Our differing beliefs don't need to divide us, because love transcends belief, leading us beyond ideas, ideologies, and egos. We know every spiritual tradition worth studying or practicing leads us beyond the self. But love beyond belief is of utmost importance to us as Unitarian Universalists, because We are a movement of people who have insisted and continue to insist that there is no one right way to talk about God. We are a movement of people who have insisted and continue to insist that many different beliefs lead to loving, compassionate action in our lives and in the world. Therefore, our beliefs must not divide us. Today, we can affirm these values and these principles with greater confidence than ever before, thanks to the work of Thandeka, who coined the term love beyond belief. Scholar, theologian, ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, journalist, author, and Emmy award-winning television producer, she was given the Xhosa name Thandeka, which means beloved, by Archbishop Desmond Tutu in 1984. Love beyond belief is the core principle of Thandeka's body of scholarly work, very scholarly, thick work, which is called Affect Theology. It studies neurology and neuroscience and perceptions, and it's fascinating. In Thandeka's own words, liberal faith begins with transformed and uplifted feelings that exalt the human soul and let us love beyond belief, come what may. Her goal is to transform corpse-cold churches, as Ralph Waldo Emerson put it, and your reading was perfect, Krista, thank you, into sanctuaries that warm and elevate the human heart, inspiring folks to stand strong on the side of love. Her goal is for us, the hard work is on us, to reunite liberal thinking with uplifted feelings of infinite life, giving strength and momentum to our movements for justice. I could read that 10 more times, but I won't. In her work with congregations, I was lucky enough to be present for an 8-day seminar in Tulsa, where she basically teaches her body of work called Affect Theology. During those 8 days, participants identified and shared our own experiences of connection, interdependence, awe, joy, care. And from those experiences, we defined or redefined classical religious terms for ourselves. It was very empowering and something I look forward to doing together here. I'll come back to this theme of direct experience in January when our theme is spiritual or religious authority, so we can dive deeper into how personal direct experience is the ultimate authority in our Unitarian Universalist tradition. But I'm going to share one example from the workshop that I remember, which is when Rita Woodall, who gave me permission to share this story, and it was a great opportunity to reach out to Rita. Rita described an encounter with a lizard lying on a large rock in the sun as her example of a moment of interconnection, awe, and care. Everyone in the workshop could relate to her sense of being deeply connected to this creature. And by remembering and retelling the story, Rita was powerfully reconnected to her memory of that moment. And then based on her own direct experience of interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh calls it, Rita was able to articulate new, liberating, personally relevant definitions of classical religious terms, like God, for example, our theme for the month. When I met Rita, she was considering joining the care team, but told me she had some concerns, so we found a time to talk. Rita told me she didn't believe in God, so she wasn't sure she would be able to be present for or adequately care for our members, some of whom were Christian. I learned a lot about Rita that day, including that her son had ended his own life, at age 17. And when she was done sharing, I told her I thought she would be a wonderful new member of our care team, and that I only had one question. Rita, I asked, will you be able to love the people who call you in distress, the people you visit in the hospital, the people who have recently lost a loved one? Will you be able to love them beyond belief? Yes, Barbara, I will, she answered. Now, welcome to the care team, Rita, I said. And we hugged. Some have called love beyond belief the universal substrate for non-denominational religious experience. Okay, that one I'm going to say again. Some have called love beyond belief the universal substrate for non-denominational religious experience. We've been given or gifted the words by a living woman theologian who offers it to us as an answer to the question, what binds us together as you use? Remember how important those questions are. The answer is we love beyond belief. These are Thandeka's words. Our liberal faith tradition encourages us to embrace persons rather than creeds. And so we endeavor ever anew as Unitarian Universalists to love others beyond their own beliefs. We endeavor ever anew to create an ethos of care and compassion in which we feel loved beyond belief. Our personal experiences of love beyond belief are the binding principle of our faith and are the major source of our religious unity and our theological diversity. Before closing, I want to share a short poem with you written by Pedro Arrupe, a Spanish Basque priest who was stationed outside Hiroshima in 1945, where he used his medical background as a first responder after the atomic bombing. It's called Falling in Love with God. Nothing is more practical than finding God. That is, than falling in love in a quite absolute way. What you are in love with, what seizes your imagination, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, what you will do with your evenings, how you spend your weekend, what you read, what you know, and what breaks your heart, and what amazes you with joy and gratitude. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. We are a people who yearn to not only feel, but to embody the reality or truth that we are all connected. We are a people who want to do more than just imagine. We are a people who want we, the people, to always include one more, no matter their religion or race or background. So our greeters practice love beyond belief every Sunday when they welcome each and every person who comes through the door with the same warmth and enthusiasm, no matter their religion, race, background, or beliefs. These connections we make allow us to heal broken hearts, mend injured souls, and calm restless minds. Our worship team members, speakers, and musicians work every week to create experiences, communal experiences of love beyond belief each and every Sunday so that every person here knows they are unconditionally loved and beloved beyond belief. No matter how much mud you have on you. Thank you, Hosea Ballou. We are called as Unitarian Universalists specifically and precisely to love beyond belief. May it be so. I love you. Mm-hmm.